Welcome, saber enthusiasts. I am Nick Nitro, and I am the Lord of the Crucible. Today we've got our brand new saber for you, and it's a first for me. Now, it's a little bit different than most of the sabers I usually get. I still have not been able to make it to Galaxy's Edge. I know, and I live here in Florida. That's just the way things have worked out. Usually you live in an area, you're usually the last person to get to the stuff in the area. For some reason, it just seems to work out that way. Everybody I've talked to has been like that. But we did make our way to Disney Springs. And, well, they've got a galactic outpost right there. So I was able to pick up my first Disney Legacy Lightsaber right here. We're going to talk about this in just a moment. But I do want to offer my apologies. If you were at the Galactic Outpost at Disney Springs in Orlando on July 11th, and there was some guy there just taking up the guy's time, checking out saber after saber after saber, and even, well, we'll get into that, but that was me. I'm sorry. I get very into this, and I want to make certain that what I get actually works. Now, you'll see this is not a sealed package, and there's a reason for that. And I want to give a shout out to the guys that were working the counter that day. They put up with a lot from me, a lot, and I thank them so much. They let me handle the sabers that were on display. Once I made my decision, I knew I was going to buy it. I asked them, would they crack it open? Would they test it out to make certain it worked? And they did. They actually tested out the saber and both of the blades that I picked up. Now, all told, for what I got, both blades, the saber, I paid about $319 out the door. So for a Disney saber, that's kind of about what you're looking at if you're getting some extras with it. But I did take my time, and I had a few interesting questions, and I learned something very interesting. I almost grabbed the dark saber. This is not the dark saber. The dark saber, out of the legacy sabers that I had access to, fit the hand so much better. But I had a crucial question. You see, I picked up two blades here. Because if you've seen the channel, I go through blades a lot. And it turns out you cannot get a separate replacement blade for the dark saber. According to the individual at the desk, the only way to get a replacement blade for the dark saber is to buy a whole new dark saber. So that was not in the cards for me. But I did end up picking up this little thing. Now, first off, these boxes are a lot smaller than what a lot of the images online make them look like. But I went ahead and grabbed, let's go ahead and open this up. There we are. The Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker lightsaber, right there. So it looks really nice. And it turns out that of the lightsabers that were there, this is one of the 3 of the lightest sabers that the Outpost had available to check out. The other 2 light ones were the dark saber and the Kanan Jarrus. But the Return of the Jedi, this is the one I picked up. I mean, it actually feels really good. Now, it does come with some other things. So we're going to go ahead and dig a little deeper here. You've got your main tray. Set that off to the side here. Some spacer styrofoam. Here we go. Get all of this out of the way. And you get a second end. And the reason for that is you notice the necks are very different. The wider neck is the one that can hold the blade, and this has all of the electronics in here, which I'll try and get a picture of the pogo pins that you see there. And this bottom tray also has a couple of your other pieces that come with it. You've got a little screwdriver here, which pops out and they make a nice little spot for it to be stored in so you don't lose it. And this is how you put in your batteries, which you see the batteries aren't here, they're in the saber already. We put them in right on the day that I was there. So it's nice that they give you everything you need to get it started right out of the box, except for the blade, you got to buy that separately. But the reason for the screwdriver, let's go ahead and pull this out here. Here's your battery pack. This has a protective sleeve here, and there is a little screw right there. You remove that screw and this whole piece slides off and you put your batteries in that way. The interesting thing is that the batteries that come with the Luke Skywalker lightsaber are as green as the blade is. So we'll go ahead and put this back in. Now there is a groove in there so that it can only go in one way. There we are. Doesn't go in very far. And then you just screw that down and that locks in place. Now, you will have to switch out the upper body, which, as you can see here, there's nothing in there. This is all hollow. It is just for looks. This is what sits on your shelf. This has all of your upper chassis electronics in it. So this is where the sound font and everything else is stored. And you notice you've got a little contact plate here, some pogo pins, and it will just screw together nicely. Now, that actually doesn't feel bad. Everything out of the way, because we're going to go ahead and open up the blades here. And he did test these blades in the shop. They've already been opened. I kind of taped them down so that we could travel with them. But the way they are in the box, you've got a couple of formed pieces on each end holding the blade steady. One little sleeve that I think is on each end. But really, it comes out. And there's nothing else to peel off of here. So let's go ahead and get this put in. And if you heard that little sound, you hear it every time the blade is put in and taken out. And there we are. That is the one thing I like about this saber more than anything else, is that there are no tools required to take the blade in and out. Now, Disney does own the patent on this connection system. I don't know which patent they applied for. It could be as short as 7 years. It could be longer than that. But when that patent runs out, I fully expect other saber companies to jump on this design with their own variations, because having to carry around an Allen key does get a little trying. But I absolutely love that. So the activation switch is back here. And here we go. And as you can see, it does have a little bit of a scroll effect. There are LEDs in the saber, but this is a string blade. It's not going to be as smooth of a scroll as a NeoPixel. There's also no volume control. This is as loud as it gets. And that's all you get as far as sound effects. But I do like that. I do like that a lot. So, some of you might be thinking, $319, 2 blades, 1 saber, not much on the sound effects. Is it worth it? That depends on the type of collector that you are. These Disney lightsabers occupy a very unique position. You have two fandoms that collide together in probably the best way possible. You've got people collecting Star Wars stuff, and then people that just collect Disney stuff. And these guys over here probably won't go for any of the other lightsabers that we have in the other fandom, but they will go for this. So if you are about both of those fandoms, this makes absolute perfect sense to buy. Absolutely. As far as me, I do like higher end lightsabers. So if you're looking for features, you might want to look elsewhere. But if you want Lucasfilm authorized merchandise, Disney authorized merchandise, this is a way to go. That said, for the unboxing, it's actually not that bad. The balance is pretty good on first impression. But we're going to get deeper into all of our measurements and review. I'm going to take some time to finally play around with it and see how it handles. And we'll cover all of that in the next Saber video. We will also see exactly what this can do in the Crucible. And the good news is, well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is if this section is damaged and it's not working, I can just swap it out with this section and it makes a very nice shelf display piece. The bad news is, if it gets damaged, I don't know if I can repair it. And let's face it, everything I do in the Crucible here, I'm pretty much a no warranty zone. I break this in the Crucible, Disney's probably just going to look at me and say, I'm sorry. Which I get, which I understand. I do this intentionally and I know the risks of what I'm doing. Voiding warranties is just par for the course. So, if you get one of these, love it, cherish it. Don't do the stuff I'm going to do with it. But I do want to see what it can take. So with that said, I'm Nick Nitro. This is Rocky, and we will see you in the Crucible.